So as holidays go, this one was not getting a 5-star review. Been driven out to the desert by a bunch of psychos waving police badges. Beaten to within an inch of my life. Tasered in the nuts.
No, stop!
And now I'm in jail. All for a bag of drugs that weren't even mine.
I know what you're thinking, right?
That guy's done for. I thought that too.
Woke up to the call of the Adhan. It was just a surreal moment of, whoa. Like, this is now real.
Day one. And the first morning we didn't even want to leave our cell.
Venom.
God knows what's out there.
My, if you ever heard what I heard in the night, what a fright, must have been a parasite in my past life. I don't want to ever come down from a height.
What was the cell like? Disgusting. You could tell the walls used to be white, but obviously millions of cigarettes being smoked in there. It was disgusting. Right next to the toilet as well. Smell shit and piss constantly. People going in there, turning one out.
Venom.
You can hear that, all that sort of stuff. Like, that was horrible.
I couldn't hide forever. I hadn't called home since before our arrest, and I finally had access to a phone. Time to have some pretty difficult conversations.
I called my mate Midas.
It's Cole. Cole.
Yo, Caesar, what's going on?
I'm in jail.
Hello, what? What are you doing in jail?
In Dubai.
He's like, I'm with Grant and Silly. I was like, what? They found spice on us. I'm like, spice?
We all smoke weed back in the area. Who don't, you know what I mean? Everyone does. So I thought, oh, maybe someone of them brought a little bit of weed in the bag or something like that, you know? But ending up in jail, mate, nah, I didn't expect that one.
I was shocked, but I laughed. You just think to yourself, it's just typical C's. It's typical Carl. You're just thinking, here we go again. Here we go again, yeah? I'm like, have you told your mum?
Yes, I remember I just called my mum and I was just like, Mom, I'm in jail. She's like, you all right?
Yes.
I didn't want to worry her and I was like, Mom, I'm sweet, man, don't worry about that, do you know what I mean?
Listen, it's gonna be fine.
She was like, just be careful for me, please, innit? And I was like, yeah.
She just said to me, don't waste your money on the phone to me. Save your money for speaking to Amy.
Yeah.
Amy. So this was the conversation I've been dreading having. When I left, I said I wouldn't be doing anything stupid, but shit escalated quickly. I didn't know how she was going to react. It was not going to be good. I've had 2 life-changing encounters in Dubai nightclubs. One of them landed me in prison. But this is how the other one went.
Yeah, I just remember looking at her and I was like, oh. She had an amazing ass, like, I mean.
And we just got talking.
And I was just like, whoa. I was like, what, you from the UK? She's like, yeah. I'm like, ah, that's sick, man, you know. Like, Amy was living out there permanently. She used to work for Emirates. So she was flying all around the world.
She was like, look,
Give me a phone number and
come and have a drink with me.
I was like, all right, sweet.
How did the relationship develop after that?
Obviously, I tried to stick it on her one night, and she aired the shit out of me. She was like, nah, it's not happening. I'm like, yo, she's like, nah. I was like, all right, cool. So be it then.
He'd go and talk to any girl, 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 girl, way out of his league, and he'd go up like she's already his. That attitude, like, already won, you know? And if she goes, fuck off, he's like, all right, no problem. And, you know, it doesn't affect his ego, don't bash him. Reject him, makes him want to go extra hard.
She ended up being the mother of my child, so I got there in the end, do you know what I mean? Whoa, a gentleman never kisses and tells.
Always said I was a good kid. Always said I had a way with words. Never knew I could be speechless.
Amy was in pieces when I called her. She felt like she was just like never gonna see me again.
I promise. I'm gonna sort this out.
I remember trying to reassure her that I'm gonna be all right, and do you know what I mean? I'm gonna be out soon. But famous last words, right?
I love you.
I set fire to the whole place.
I felt like a right prick. This isn't what Amy signed up for. The only way I could see us getting home was with the British Embassy's help. The police had told them about our arrest, so it was just a waiting game now until they came to see us. But God knows when that was going to be, and I had to start figuring out how things worked around here. First things first, I hadn't eaten properly for days. Let's see what this all-inclusive has to offer.
So we get to the front of the queue, and they just give us this tray and like, it's like this brown liquid and piece of this driest, most horriblest flatbread known to man. I remember looking at the food just thinking, what in the Lord Jesus Christ is this? It's like random offcuts of like bone with like a tiny little bit of meat attached to it. Grant was like, oh, I think it's camel foot or something stupid like that. I was like, brother, I don't even know what this is. Like, and I remember just eating one little piece of it, and I was like, fuck that, I'm not eating that.
But the food was the least of my worries. But ever since I found out we were going to prison, I've been shit scared of one thing. Turns out it was with good reason.
I just said to myself, no way am I gonna get bummed in here. I was like, no way. Like, I did not want to get raped at all. Like, that was my biggest fear. As anyone's fear would be, going to prison. All you think is big, scary Russian geezers trying to bum you.
What do you have to do to survive a prison in Dubai?
Just keep your respect, I guess, man. You know, keep it to yourself, keep your head high. Do not disrespect no one. Don't let anyone disrespect you.
Survival of the fittest comes to mind. We were in a fight for our lives. Any sign of weakness, and we would be the next target. I'd never been more desperate for an appointment with Her Majesty's government. But that's not who come knocking next.
I was determined to find out more, so I went to prison to see if I could speak to the three of them.
Is it tricky to get access to the boys?
Yeah, I can't discuss that, sorry. Port Rashid is not run as a proper prison, that's for sure. It's basically a police station with some holding cells. It's not somewhere where people are supposed to be kept long term. I spoke to Grant Cameron, and all three denied that the drugs belonged to them. But if your blood tests come up positive for drugs, the punishments can be extreme. And they all tested positive. So that's an immediate conviction for possession and a sentence of 4 years. And it could go anything up to life. Compared to UK laws, they would seem disproportionate. In fact, there was even a case, I think at the same time, of someone being sentenced to death for dealing cannabis with a street value of less than £250.
So the law, the drugs and another crimes should be very strong. دبي ليها العديد من المخارج والمداخل من خلال البحر ومن خلال الجو ومن خلال البري. فإذا ما كانش في حماية فعلية للمداخل الخاصة بالدولة، الدولة كلها هتكون كلها مخدرات من أنواع مختلفة. أنت لو عندك أطفال واستحبتيهم لدبي، أنا متأكد إن الأطفال دول هيقولوا لك إحنا محتاجين إن إحنا نقعد في المكان ده. مش تكونوا مختلف عن أي مكان تاني، ولكن كله فيه شعور بالأمان.
We were a few days in and I still couldn't get a read on this place. Then I got a visit from the guy who ran things around here. He was the foreman. Still an inmate, but the guards left him alone, you know. His name was Abdullah. If he was in charge of the animals in here, then he must have some serious ways about him.
It's like, oh, British, you're here. Welcome to my home, British. I'm like, oh, go on, bro. He's like, well, go on, he's like, this how you speak? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, go on, bro. He's like, okay, you're in my home now. He's like, you know, he says, you have the Russians here. He says, be careful, very dangerous people, you know? And he just like told me step by step who's in like what nationalities in what cell, and it like the prison was literally broken up into nationalities. He was like, right now, he says, the cell, the prison is, you know, it's too crowded. Only supposed to have like 180 people, but there was like over 300 and something prisoners in there. Abdullah said to me, eventually you will have your own European cell because you boys, big drug dealers, you boys, so you're here for a long time. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, brother, you boys, you caught with a lot of spice, you know. And I'm like, what? I'm like, is this bad? He says, Yanni, maybe we be, you know, boyfriend and girlfriend by the end of it. I'm like, brother, shut up, man. Like, nah, that ain't happening with me, mate. The prison is run by the prisoners. The guards don't even come inside. And the only time they would come inside is if there was like 2 or 3 of them. So like, Abdullah made all the rules. The way that he ran the jail, it was just like, you can't tell me nothing. I'm the foreman. He may as well have been a god, and he had so much wasta that he just didn't give a shit.
Wasta operates in the UAE, and wasta is connections. It's basically either nepotism or having a family connection or some sort of knowledge of how to work your way around the system. So often, if you saw Emiratis in court, they would be given a reprieve after a few months on bail or while waiting a trial.
A lot of the Spice Kids' parents were like influential people in Dubai. So they'd all been writing letters to the Sheikh asking for forgiveness. And they ended up releasing like near enough all of the Spice Kids.
No, a lot of them were pardoned because a lot of them had parents who had long-standing relations within the UAE and implemented some wasta.
I started to wonder, how can I get some of this wasta?
It's definitely a situation I wasn't expecting. And around my other friends, you never believe Carl's in jail, innit? Caesar's gonna find himself in situations that he doesn't need to find himself in. But he always manages to get out of it. You just laughed about it. You're a British citizen. You're gonna get out. You know what I mean? You're not thinking it's gonna be a long process. You're thinking, okay, a couple of hours, maybe a day max.
We thought that too. We'd assumed that because we'd been done for the same thing as those Spice kids, they wouldn't be long before we were released. I promised Amy and the boys that I'd be home soon, and I meant it. But morning after morning, we waited for the guards to call our name. And nothing. What's going on? I needed some proper time to think. My head was all over the place. And one thing that always gives me clarity is music.
I went into the TV room and I was put on MTV because it was the only channel that you could see like fit birds.
How you did it, loco, is
I had Misha B, pumping like,
so addictive.
and I wrote bars to like some of the songs. Felt like I'm not in prison, do you know what I mean? And then these guys come from the outside area, mob the TV room and just go, just switch it over, like I was a dickhead. So I was just like, nah, man.
In jail, you don't want to be one of these weak guys. The strong ones are going to start taking your cigarettes off you, start taking your lunch off of you. Yeah, so you have to stand up for yourself. Because of where we've come from in London, we got taught if someone punches you, punch them 10 times harder. Don't let somebody come and invade your space and try and violate you.
And it's literally me standing there by myself, and like, nah, fuck this.
Weren't gonna let this place or these animals in here like grind me down. So like sticking up for myself and causing a madness just felt so good. But I'm not sure Abdullah saw things the way that I did.
Do you have to stay on the good side of the foreman?
Yeah, 100%. In the sense between prisoners, it's the foreman has maximum authority. He's the one who sets the rules in the wing. This person is going to be the one in charge of all these people. So regardless of whether it's like someone needs to communicate with the police, someone's trying to bring something in from the outside, books or whatever, it's all done through the foreman.
Being able to look after yourself on the street is not going to do you any harm in jail. But also, you can't just go in and act like you're the biggest and baddest in every situation. You go into a place like Dubai jail and you try to act like that, you're fucked.
Look, I was just doing whatever it took to survive in there, mentally and physically. At last, some good news.
Guards just banged on the door and said, British, Britannies, free Britannies, yalla, 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 tala, baby, ta. He's like, come, the embassy's here to see you.
After all the shit the police had given us, It felt good knowing that someone was finally going to be doing something to get us out. There was two ladies, there was Hiba and there's a woman called Mandy. We used to think Mandy was quite sexy. She asked me to start the story from the beginning, so I did.
We didn't even know they were police. They were hitting us, stomping on us in the hotel room. They were treating us like animals.
She was like, what? She was like, you were beaten? I was like, yeah. The look on this woman's face was like she'd seen 50,000 ghosts in front of her. Just looking at my body and there's just like these weird lines everywhere. It was just covered in them. And she's like, is that from the electrocution? So I was like, yeah. She's like, this is not normal. She's like, Carl, like you've been badly tortured. I just remember like, just taken aback for a bit. And then now I'm like, starting to get a bit emotional. I'm like, so like that doesn't happen to everyone. She's like, oh no. So that's really bad.
Didn't ever take any photos?
No photos. So this was like one of the main things that like really like pissed me off. You know, I remember like being at beef with them and saying to them, look, like, how can you just come here and just write something down on a bit of paper? How does anyone know what you're saying is true? How? Then after that, Mandy told us what our charges were. She said to us like, you do realise that you boys are involved in something serious. And I just remember looking at her like, what? For your charges, you could get 25 years. Or death penalty. I felt like I'd fainted, like everything just went blurry. It was like those moments that you see in the films when, like, when people get told bad news and the sound changes and everything sounds like it's like underwater and echoing. And she's talking and I just remember just sitting there just like, I was just like, what the fuck? And then like the sound kind of just went.
Or the death
There was certainly the idea that they wanted to make examples of people. There was even a British Embassy circular saying they are looking to make an example, and they're going to be ruthless in doing so.
Standing up, calling all the people here to see the show.
When I heard that they was going to get the death penalty, we was all in bits. We couldn't believe it. My old best mates are going to get shot in the flipping desert over a bit of weed.
A death penalty? I'm like, damn, is this what's really happening in Dubai now? Like, boy, now you're in trouble. I could hear the fear start kicking in, and he was beginning to panic.
You can't take me down. You can't break me.
I would expect if I was in trouble in a foreign country that my embassy would help me manoeuvre my way out of a difficult situation. But the embassy in Dubai tend to take quite a laissez-faire attitude. So guys were just left to fend for themselves. And the sad part of it was actually they looked at the embassy for a very long time to help them out and realised that they weren't going to do anything. There's long been a really cordial relationship between the UK and the UAE. Some might almost describe it as a sycophantic one because they lead to trade and finance and all sorts of other things that was beneficial at the time to the UK government. They don't want to embarrass or taint that relationship.
You just obviously, mentally, you kind of pray for people. I was also very kind of concerned about, his family, his mom, or, you know what I mean, his, he had a kid.
So, me and Midas went down to visit Amy.
And we was like, things will work out, things will, turn out for the good, but it was like we wasn't sure ourselves.
Made me numb, and it made me lose like a piece of my heart, because I had to mentally prepare myself never to see my family again.
I feel like something in me changed a little bit. It broke me. It just really just made me angry. Fuck it, like I'm ready to kill or be killed in here. I don't give a shit. They're gonna put a bullet in my nut anyway. It was from that point that I just started to turn into just a bit of an arsehole, if I'm honest with you. Someone's barged me, I'm like, I actually don't give a shit. I swear down, brother, the torture was immense. I got tasered in the balls and gun butt to the chest. They wanted me to give up names, said it was best, but I told them, go and fuck yourself, hit me again. That's when they got mad. Police broke my hand and said I'm going down for that stuff in the bag. Because I have a little bit of that fuck it side to me anyway. And then situations like that, it just gets a bit out of control.
I can't imagine all the pain that my mom felt, finding out I'm locked up in a foreign jail. But don't you worry, I'll be brave.
Couldn't have been easy for them boys being in jail with me. Like, couldn't have been easy at all.
I'm locked up in a foreign jail.
Bro, I mean it, bro. Relax, man. Just fucking hands
off. Like, they're like, you're acting like a prick, innit? Yeah, you keep getting into silly situations. Says you're gonna get us ironed out by everyone.
You think you're tough? This is my house, English boy. Do you understand? Don't fuck around here. Do you fucking understand?
Something's just not right about this whole situation. Oh, shit.
It is David against Goliath.
People was coming out in body bags. The whole place was just going crazy. I've got a problem with authority. I've been to jail once now, that's why I get mad when people close the door on me. Whoever gave you the power to control me, I wanna thank them cause that power sold me. I'm in this life, my interest have been digging for hours, and all I found are these bars and I can't get out. And it feels cold every time I take a warm shower. I miss my daughter, man, life was so hard without.